everybody, I am Chef Vanshika Bhatia and I am a Banwali. I was born in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh in India, and after I finished class 12th, I moved to different countries and different cities to make my place in the world. Now, when anyone hears the word Bhatia, they think that I am a Punjabi. But no, I am not a Punjabi, I am a Banwal. A Banwal is a person from Bannu in Northwest Frontier Province, now in Pakistan, and that is where my grandparents migrated from during the partition of India. Whoever I've met has never heard the word Banwals, and I try a lot to explain it to them, and a lot of people from my community don't even bother correcting people whenever they're called Punjabis. And that makes me fearful of the fact that maybe my identity and heritage might disappear from this world. As I said, my ancestors, namely my great-grandparents and grandparents, left from Bannu during the partition. They were amongst thousands of Hindus who left from Bannu, and they left with nothing but their lives. My grandmother told me stories of relatives lost during the migration. Banwals are people of great strength and resilience, and I am a product of such resilience and hard work. After working for a few years in the hospitality industry, when I gained a little bit of a name for myself and was high enough in the ranks to contribute in making a menu and making new dishes, I saw that a lot of my fellow chefs and colleagues would go back to their hometowns and take inspiration from what was growing around them and the farms and what their grandmothers were teaching them, and I felt a little bit insecure. I thought that I am from Kanpur, which is a small industrial town and does not have a lot of culinary heritage. Even though we have Lucknow right there, but that is not my home, and that is not the food that I was eating when I was growing up. So I felt a little bit lost, and I thought that I should dig into what I have been eating and what my ghar ka khana has been, and that is what I did. I dug into my resilience trait of being a Banwali, and I started asking my grandparents, my dadi, my nanaji, everybody who was around about what they used to eat and what their lives were when they were in Bannu, and they told me so many things. I spoke to my nanaji, who was 15 years old when the partition happened, and he told me that how the women would stay at home and the men would go to work, having a breakfast of boiled chana and moong dal with a little bit of mango powder on top, a variation of this dish which we still eat at home, and we make it for brunch when people of the biradri are over. There were so many different techniques that he told us about that subconsciously I was using as well in my cooking. For instance, I use a lot of preservation technique here in my restaurant, and I use it to preserve limes and fruits and vegetables, whatever is available, so that nothing is wasted. Bannu was an arid region where not a lot was available, so that is what they used to do. That was the way of life. They needed to preserve everything that they got and everything that they could get, so that they had food whenever they needed. Since I am a chef, I wanted to know of more and more recipes that are there in our cuisine, and even though it has been my ghar ka khana, I still wanted to know about all the intricacies and methods and techniques that were being used. So I spoke to a lot of women and men of the society, and especially because the women cook all things vegetarian and the men cooked meat when they were in Bannu, both of them know how to cook properly. My grandfather used to tell me that how he and his brothers would hunt quails and partridges and make meat in their wood shop and clean the utensils themselves, and then the next day the women would clean the utensils again with ashes and then cook food at home. There was a policy of zero wastage throughout. There were dishes like tukkar, which is made with leftover rotis which are just broken together and had with ghee, and then there are also dishes like andhi kukri, where you just add a little bit of black pepper broth and ghee for some richness, and you eat it with your eyes closed so that you can imagine that you're having chicken, but you're actually just having roti. So that was the scarcity that was there. Those were the times when nothing was available and people would just be there in those closed doors in Bannu and stay at home, so that the invaders from different parts of the country and different parts of the mountains would not come and attack them. Now, As we all are aware, and I hope that we are, that our planet is facing a huge problem. A problem that was not there before. The problem of hunger crisis, of wastefulness, and of pollution. The problem where we want what we don't have and we would go to great lengths of importing ingredients where there are 690 million people who go hungry every day. We want ingredients like quinoa, which is not local to us and comes from a supermarket shelf and might also be stale because it has been there and you don't know how long it's been there. While we can also get the same nutrition that we are looking for in things like millets, which are growing here, which are local and growing, which is good for the soil, but is just not as cool as quinoa. Learning about Banwals and how they consume whatever was growing around them and whatever was available without wasting even a little grain. The Banwali trait of never saying no and of always donating. For example, the first roti in our house is always made for the cow and the last roti is always made for the dog. Of never taking what is not yours, for example, like dowry is never taken, and of always being very, very strong and earning their living. It got me wondering that maybe that is the solution to our problems. Maybe what we need to do is stop, we need to take a breath, and we need to go back to our roots and respect what was being done, and we need to do that now. Yes, India, like so many different countries, is going through the hunger crisis. Sustainable Development Goal number 2 was made by the United Nations to tackle this problem. And here is a solution that can help with some of these issues. Go back to your culture, learn from it, research it, and implement it. That is how you will help your earth, that is only one earth, our planet, from reviving, and our biodiversity is from reviving, and for us to have a better future. In India, we have so many natural remedies, and we still have the generation which can help us record these remedies. We also have the access to different cultures of the world for integration to come up with the perfect modern yet traditional solution for our problems, to make things like ashwagandha cool. When I opened my restaurant together at 12th in India, we had a vision of going truly local. We used all local ingredients. We just conveyed it in a language that our guests were used to and they were comfortable with. We used ingredients which were lost and not being used in a lot of places, and not even the locals of that very region were aware that what all can be done with that. We used proso millet with mutton. Yes, mutton, not lamb. We used hemp seed chutney from Uttarakhand with our pork belly, which was Indian, not Belgian. There were so many such examples that we had in our restaurant, we still have in our restaurant, and we just slowly introduced to the palates of our guests. And when people became comfortable and fell in love with these flavors, I then introduced lost Indian recipes from my travels. I introduced pandi curry from Coorg, bamboo chicken from Meghalaya, which is now our signature dish, and many such dishes which people had never had. And our restaurant became a truly Indian restaurant. I realized that what initially I was thinking as ghar ka khana gave me the roots that I was looking for. We didn't just stop there. Our restaurant is made with desi materials. We happily tell people that no, our bar is not made out of Egyptian stone. It's made out of Kadapa stone, which is found in the south of India. Isn't it beautiful? We take pride in what we've done and the effort that we have put. And as a result and as a reward, we made our restaurant for a fraction of the price, and it took lesser time to make it because we did not import anything at all. Everything, to plates, crockery, cutlery, everything is truly Indian. So to conclude, I would like to encourage you to eat in banana leaves, to cook in cast iron or earthenware utensils, to support your local farmer, and to contribute to the health of your planet. And that alone is a big enough step for the betterment of our planet and our lives. Go back to your culture, learn from it, implement it, and see how you feel about it. I know I feel happier.